Get your engine started. Drive out onto the roadway. We're looking for some action and other stuff you said would happen. Birth to be crazy. Oh, hi, I'm Jeff Arbuckle, your B-Movie proctologist, and if I do say so myself, low-key rock and roll expert.
Oh my.
Look, last week was kind of rough. Oasis of the Zombies wasn't so good, so I found myself in a terrible mess in the old movie poop chute. But sometimes you gotta call in reinforcements. Sometimes you need a little bit of class to, make things better and snuff out that hemorrhoidal burn of Oasis of the Zombies. Nurse Disembodied, please tell the audience what we're looking at today.
Bikers and Satanists and werewolves. Oh my. This week's episode takes a motorcycle ride through the desert away from last week's zombies and toward an old church that a satanic cult has taken over. The bikers are drugged by the Satanists and they put a curse on one of the bikers' girlfriends so she becomes a werewolf. When she infects her boyfriend, the biker gang must contend with werewolf shenanigans and Werewolves on Wheels.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought this was going to be something more, like The Wild One or Easy Rider or something like that. I thought we were watching a biker movie.
But we are watching a biker movie.
But this is Werewolves on Wheels. This is... here I thought we were really going to get something like a good palate cleanser. And what do you bring me? Werewolves on Wheels.
It is a biker movie. And it has werewolves in it.
I guess we can debate the pluralness of werewolves on wheels, but this movie barely crosses the bar for plural werewolves, but I actually don't really hate this movie. And yes, I know last week I said that, we would be talking about bikers and werewolves and Satanists, but quite frankly, I was just thinking we were going to run into werewolves and bikers and Satanists anyway when we were on our ride out to the West Coast and to the desert on bikes that I don't even have. Anyway, I actually don't hate this movie. It's strange, and holy shit, it has a hell of a poster. Look at this thing. Alright, so you got yourself a werewolf biker with an upside down girl under his left arm as if he just up and stole that chick. She's holding a goddamn skull by the fucking jaw. Around one of her legs and the werewolf shoulders is a snake, like a viper or something. He's running over a dude. He's being chased by a second biker with a torch. On the other side of the bike, in the background, a werewolf is being burned alive with a circle jerk of Satanists watching. Whoever is in charge of that marketing campaign hit this one right the fuck out of the park. And that's especially because this movie features nothing like this. There's a girl. There are multiple bikers. There is a snake. There is a skull. There is a group of Satanists. But a werewolf biker does not make off with an upside down tiny top Daisy Duke barefoot sex bomb of a biker dude's old lady while she's holding a skull, and that's slightly disappointing. No, in reality what you had here was one of those exploitation flicks that features protagonists who are a little iffy and do a lot of drinking and a whole lot of questionable things. Then one turns into a werewolf, then another, people die, and it's okay, it's whatever. Now, the movie was directed by Michael Levesque, and this was the first of only 3 feature-length movies that he directed. He was mostly an art director and production designer. He did the art direction on the Russ Meyer film Super Vixens, Up, and Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens. He also worked on Ilsa, Harem Keeper of the Oil Sheiks, and The Incredible Melting Man. And if you haven't seen any of those, then you are missing out, good sirs and madams. But probably his best known film, though, that he did the art direction for was probably Foxes. Now that starred Jodie Foster and Cherie Currie from The Runaways. Most would probably say that it was technically Jodie Foster and Scott Baio's film, but well, Jodie's a 2-time Oscar winner and Curie is part of an awesome rock band. Remember, low-key rock and roll expert here. So that will always beat out whatever the fuck Scott Baio has done since, what, the 80s, I guess? All right, nerds, what do you think? You think we should see how bad it is in the old movie Poop Shoot on the Werewolves on Wheels? So I'll be back after the first act and we'll see where things sit. Moderate speed ride. Take it cool. Moderate speed ride. Take it cool.
Jeff?
What?
Sigh. Never mind.
All right, so there we have the setup for this exploitation sort of classic. I say it like that because until about 5 or so years ago, I didn't know nothing about no Werewolves on Wheels. It was most definitely one of those movies that I watched on Bizarre TV, but I tell you, once you know it exists, it has a title that you won't ever forget. Werewolves on Wheels sounds like an awesome movie. But anyway, since I saw this movie for the first time, it started to pop up kind of all over the place. Apparently, it has played the Alamo Drafthouse. It's gotten reviewed multiple times in the YouTube's world. It's been turned into a song. And the point I'm trying to make is that this movie kind of has one hell of a name, and it's certainly something that stands out in a list of movies. I mean, we looked at the poster before the movie, and holy shit, that's the only thing I can possibly imagine when I hear the title. So that's effective as all get out. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tackle something here in this segment that I maybe don't normally discuss, but it's kind of important to me. The quality of this version of the movie that I have ain't so great. It's blurry, it's neither widescreen nor full frame somehow. It's a little rough. Hell, it doesn't even actually start until after the title appeared on screen in the original version of the movie. Now, normally my source for most of these movies come from my friends at OtherWorlds TV. If you haven't seen the little ad at the end of the previous episodes, they give this little program of ours a home outside of the YouTubes. Well, that slightly better version of the film that they had, at least in quality terms, was edited. It was also oddly longer somehow. Far be it for me, your friendly neighborhood enema man, to deprive you of curse words and fleshy bits. A movie like Werewolves on Wheels needs to be experienced in its full and original vision. I will say that between Pluto TV, Tubi TV, and Amazon Prime, you can see this movie in much better quality. But still, you're getting the real original version with all the cussing and all the fleshy bits right here. Aren't I doing the viewers a real service, nurse?
Okay, sure. Whatever.
Alright, so our gang, led by Adam and his old lady Helen, is just out for a nice ride toward the desert, and they get hassled by some hilljacks, which they immediately get revenge upon. They stop off at a gas station run by, well, I guess I'm just going to have to say this, a dullard. He gets to see some titties before the gang does some damage to the local diner's normal business by simply existing and being loud and drunk and nutty. Anyway, the gang moves on for a little spot near a scary ass looking temple slash church slash whatever it is. But that doesn't scare these bikers. Never mind the scary ass devil symbol adorning the temple, church, whatever, and the grounds that are around the scary temple or church or whatever. This place is cool and they are completely blitzed. So let's go have a conversation with Satan, they decide. And what I kind of like about this first act is that the bikers are kind of loud and nutty, but they're just kind of happy to exist. I also like that Adam has no, reverence for the potential sacred nature of these grounds. He is just who he is. He's kind of an atheist in that regard, I guess. Helen, on the other hand, is kind of into the metaphysical too, right? So
it's almost like she knows something strange is around, or she has a bad feeling, or something.
And also, by the way, I mean, would you accept food and drink from some scary robe-wearing looking monk dudes?
No, I don't think that would be a very good idea.
No, since these monks, these monks give our bikers food, drink, and drugs. As they all pass out, the monk dudes snatch a hair and says that this should do the trick for whatever shenanigans they're planning to do. Now, I'm sure all this will work out just fine for everyone. But let's get back to Werewolves on Wheels, the unedited Werewolves on Wheels, I might add. And we'll see you here after the next act of the movie. Okay, so first off, right out of the gate, you know these Satanists are bad. And you know why?
They sacrifice cats?
They fucking sacrifice cats. That cat knew something was up too. This guy in a robe was holding him, seemingly had a knife somewhere on his person, and was rhyming. And you know what that means.
Clearly a sacrificing type of cultist guy.
Yep. Well, it, I suppose, worked as they do their thing, say their stuff, and that stirs Helen from her sleep. And Helen was played by Donna Anders, credited in this as DJ Anders. Now, she had a really short career. She was on a few TV shows, then appeared in a few movies like Count Yorga Vampire and Dream No Evil. And as it turned out, Werewolves on Wheels would be her last acting credit. Now, I guess once you've danced naked with a snake and a skull and, for some bikers, what more do you need to prove to Hollywood? I mean, you go out on top.
So true.
I actually do quite like that Helen character. I mean, aside from her dancing naked with the snake and the skull, which I definitely do like, there were other things I did like about her. Anders is kind of our victim in this movie. You might say that she's a little bit too curious in what many would probably call the occult, with what's-his-face reading her cards. By the way, everybody's character in this, except for Adam and Helen, are named specifically for what they do. So the guy who was reading the tarot cards, his name is Tarot. But anyway, she is also directly cursed by that, I suppose. And then later that gets played out by the cultists and everything. So, but that scene in which she did get her cards read in that first segment a little bit ago really kind of felt natural. I mean, the dude starts in and then she pushes for an answer, which of course basically foretells the rest of the movie that some not so great shit is going to happen. Now, also, I gotta say, when they get to the desert and camp out, anyone who dances like she does is kind of awesome in my book. You have to give 0 fucks to dance like she does. Adam is played by Steve Oliver. He was mostly known for his muscular physique, but he'd show up in several 70s TV shows and movies like Chips and Starsky and Hutch. He was in Steve McQueen's final film role before McQueen passed away, which was Tom Horn in 1980. If I'm talking about actors in this movie, I have to bring up a couple of the really experienced actors in this. First, you had Billy Gray, or who was typically referred to or credited as William Gray. He was in dozens of movies and TV shows back to the 40s, and he was even in The Day the Earth Stood Still as a youngster, so he'd been around for a while. Also, there was Severin Darden, who is also in this as the lead Satanist. He goes by the name One, because he constantly says, "We are one, I am one," whatever. Again, simplistic naming devices for the characters in this movie. But he was in a couple of the Planet of the Apes movies, as well as Vanishing Point, and he had even more credits to his name than Gray did. So this movie wasn't all that devoid of some sincere character actor talent. All right, so the bikers have been, a couple of bikers have been killed, and our tarot card reading biker named Tarot, he has been getting some funky vibes from around the gang. So let's get to our conclusion of Werewolves on Wheels. All right, so that was Werewolves on Wheels. I mean, there were bikers and 2 werewolves. Sadly, though, there wasn't much werewolves on actual wheels. Obviously, this movie was made during a time in which bikers and the counterculture was in the zeitgeist of American independent cinema. Exactly why those things were mixed with werewolves, I cannot say. But then on top of that, what about the satanic angle too, or the tarot card reading spiritual guide? It's such an eclectic mix of ideas and items. I mean, at one point, the bikers are riding along the road and they go into some sort of fog and they end up in a sand dune and they're all split up. To one degree, I kind of felt like this was a little bit like Homer's Odyssey. Maybe not 100% adapted, but there are certainly ideas here. The bikers are headed somewhere and they run into some trouble, but then that scene in which they meet the monks and they're all drugged feels a little bit like the chapter with Circe turning some of Odysseus's men into swine after drugging them with food and wine. And listen to me being all smart and shit about this. But beyond that, though, it seems like the bikers might be in some sort of limbo or personal hell as they're picked off. Some start having visions, and they ultimately find themselves part of the black mass the Satanists were having in the earlier part of the movie. But going back to attack the monks at the Satanist temple is a journey itself that finds them lost and, really hardly able to return. And they have to kill their gang's leader and his old lady with fire. How bad would burning werewolves smell? But wait, did any of that actually happen? I mean, I do think Adam was killed, but did he and Helen ever actually turn into werewolves? I'm actually willing to bet not, based on how the whole mass ended up looking like. Maybe once they got to the Satanic Temple, they ended up becoming part of the cult, or they were separated, their souls were separated from their body and they were in limbo or whatever, and the cursed ones turned into demonic kind of creature. I don't know. Anyway, oh well. I wanted to watch something something else other than Oasis of the Zombies, and this was definitely something other and else. So it's also much, much better. But Nurse, tell them where they can find the goodness.
You can find all of Jeff's writings and upcoming episodes at www.bmovieenema.com. You can follow the page at Facebook and Twitter and check out episodes on YouTube. If you have a Roku, get OtherWorlds TV and check him out along with all the other hosts that appear there on weekends.
Okie dokie. Well, I think that pretty much does it for this week. We're going to go a little bit more vintage next week. Well, I mean, more vintage than a 1971 werewolf biker movie. So come back next week and we'll take a look at another movie from the old poop chute. For Nurse Disembody, I'm Jeff Arbuckle, and you've been watching B-Movie Enema, the series. Oh, wait, holy shit. I just got it. The Odyssey was named after Odysseus.